Welcome to our channel. In this video, we'll have a look on the subdivisions of the pharynx. In the previous video, we discussed about what actually pharynx is and have an outlook of what all we have to study in this heading. So in this video, we'll discuss about the subdivision. So what were the three subdivisions of pharynx? These were the nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. Nasopharynx was situated behind the nose. Oropharynx or the buccopharynx was situated behind the oral cavity, and the laryngopharynx was situated behind the laryngeal cavity or the larynx. So let's study about this subdivision. Firstly, we're looking at the boundaries, and then we'll have some look on the other features, including the lining epithelium and other all features of the subdivision. So let's come to the diagram first, or we have a look on the diagram, and then we will derive the theory from this diagram part. So the nasopharynx is this space situated behind the nasal cavity. So these all are the nasopharynx. So you can see the pharynx is a fibromuscular tube extending from the base of the skull till the opening in the esophagus, that is the pharyngoesophageal constriction. So we have to divide this whole tube into two parts, or we have two landmarks which divide the whole tube into three parts. So the first landmark that we have that separates the nasopharynx from the rest of the part of the pharynx is the soft palate. So what is this? This is soft palate. Soft palate. So soft palate is the first landmark that you have to remember. Just you have to remember two landmarks. The first one is the soft palate. So from the base of the skull to the soft palate level, it is called the nasopharynx. So behind the nose, so that is behind the nasal aperture. We will discussing about the nasal aperture in detail in the part of the nose and the paranasal sciences, and some part in this pharynx video also. So please stay tuned by subscribing the channel and getting notified from the notification bell below. So this was the extent of the nasopharynx. So you have got the upper margin of the oropharynx. So this whole part is oropharynx. So we have got the upper margin of the oropharynx, that is the soft palate. So at the below the level of the soft palate, what starts the oropharynx. So we have to define its lower boundary. So the lower boundary of the oropharynx is the upper border of the epiglottis. So the oropharynx extends from the margin of the soft palate to the level of the to the upper border of the epiglottis. Upper border of epiglottis. So this is the second landmark that you should know. So the pharynx is divided into three parts with the help of two landmarks. First is at the level of the soft palate, and the second one is at the upper border of the epiglottis. So let's draw the margins and have a look on the extent of each. So from the base of the skull, so this is the base of the skull behind the nasal aperture. So from the base of the skull behind the nasal aperture or the posterior nasal aperture till the level of the soft palate, we have the nasopharynx. So this all is part is the nasopharynx. And what is the extent of the oropharynx? From lower border of the soft palate behind the oral cavity till the upper border of the epiglottis. This all part is the oropharynx, and the last part, that is the laryngopharynx, situated behind the laryngeal cavity. Here we have the from the lower border of the epiglottis to the pharyngoesophageal constriction, and from where the esophagus continues, that is at the lower border of the C6 or behind the cricoid cartilage. I hope I have made myself point very clear. If you have any query or doubt, you can ask in the comment box below. Now let's move on to the theory part and write down all that part we have discussed in the diagram. So as I told you, we'll have a comparative study of all these subdivisions of the pharynx. The first basis of comparison is the extent or how they are related to the different parts of the pharynx or the pharyngeal tube. So let's start with the boundaries first. The first basis of comparison is the boundaries or the extent. So first point to discuss under the heading boundaries is the anterior wall, or what are the anterior relation of the these three parts. So what was the anterior relation of each part of the subdivision of the pharynx? Let's come to the diagram. So the nasopharynx was situated behind the nose, that is the anterior we have the posterior nasal aperture. The oropharynx was situated behind the oral cavity. So what is the anterior relation? And the anterior side we have the oral cavity, and for the laryngopharynx we have the anterior we have the inlet of the larynx. You can see over here posterior surface of the cricoid cartilage and the arytenoid cartilage above it. So we have three structures of the anterior wall in case of the laryngopharynx, that are the inlet of the larynx. This is the inlet of the larynx. We have the arytenoid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage. So let's write down all this relation, especially the laryngopharynx relation you have to keep in mind. So in the case of nasopharynx, anterior side we have the posterior nasal aperture. In case of oropharynx we have the oral cavity, anterior side oral cavity. And in the case of laryngopharynx we have three structures you should keep in mind, that is the laryngeal inlet or the inlet of larynx. We have the second structure, that is the arytenoid cartilage, and the third is the posterior surface of the cricoid cartilage. All these are the cartilages of the larynx that we will discuss in later. So we have the laryngeal inlet, arytenoid cartilage and the cricoid cartilage. If you have to mention accurately, you can write on the posterior surface of the cricoid cartilage. For notes, you can ask me on the Instagram. So next point of consideration under the heading of boundaries is the posterior wall. We have discussed the anterior. The posterior and the roof we will discuss simultaneously. Posterior wall and roof. So let's come to the diagram again and see what all the structures that constitute the posterior and the roof of the all these three subdivision. So when you talk about the nasopharynx, what you can see on the posterior side is we have the body of the sphenoid, we have the basal occiput, that is the basal part of the occipital bone, and you can see a dot here, that is the anterior arch of atlas. So when you talk about the oropharynx, we have only two structures that constitute the posterior wall. So in this case we don't have any roof, so you can see the roof is open. So in the case of oropharynx we have only the posterior wall that is constituted by the C2 vertebra and the C3 vertebra. So the posterior wall of the oropharynx is constituted by the C2 and C3 cervical vertebra. When you talk about the posterior surface or the posterior wall of the this part, that is the laryngopharynx, it is constituted by the mainly the fourth and fifth. You can see here the some part of the C6 vertebra. So in different books you can find differently, but most commonly C4 and C5 is considered as the posterior wall of the laryngopharynx. So let's come to the theory now. So when we talk about the posterior wall and the roof of the nasopharynx, we have basal occiput, that is the basal part of the occipital bone. We have the body of sphenoid. There is one particular feature of the posterior wall of the nasopharynx, that is the presence of nasopharyngeal bursa. So where it is located, as you can see in the posterior wall, just below the body of sphenoid, you can see here a bursa that is called the nasopharyngeal bursa. Near the nasopharyngeal bursa, one more structure is present, that is the nasopharyngeal tonsil, which is more permanent in children but not in adults. So when we talk about the posterior wall of the nasopharynx, this structure you should know, that is the nasopharyngeal bursa. So the posterior wall and roof of nasopharynx constituted by the basal occiput, body of sphenoid, and we have one more thing, anterior arch of atlas, that's C1. In case of oropharynx we have simply C2 and C3, and laryngopharynx we have C4 and C5 and very small part of the C6. Now let's talk about the lateral wall of all these three subdivision. Lateral wall So later on I told you we'll discuss in detail when we talk about the pharyngeal wall and the insertion and origin of different constrictors of the pharynx. So if you talk about in the diagram, in the case of nasopharynx, you can see over here it is structure. Here we have the opening of the auditory tube, and behind the auditory tube on the lateral sides we have the tubal tonsil. So what you can see in the case of the lateral of the nasopharynx, we have the auditory tube, that is the opening of the auditory tube, and the tubal tonsil above it. And in the case of the lateral of the oropharynx and the laryngopharynx, we have two structures. One is called the tonsillar fossa, which has the palatine tonsil, and in case of the laryngopharynx we have piriform fossa. As I told in the beginning, piriform fossa is very important and we discuss in detail in a separate video. So in case of oropharynx we have one fossa which is called the tonsillar fossa, which contains the palatine tonsil, and in case of the laryngopharynx we have another fossa which is called the piriform fossa. So let's summarize all these points that we have discussed. So what constitutes the lateral of the nasopharynx? We have the opening of the auditory tube, we have opening of auditory tube, alongside which we have the tubal tonsil. In case of oropharynx we have the fossa which is called the tonsillar fossa. In case of laryngopharynx we have piriform fossa. So like that we have completed the boundaries of the nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. So let's talk about their situation, where they are actually located. This all that's the summary part, we have discussed it, situation, and third part is the extent. So where they are situated? They are situated behind the nasopharynx, situated behind posterior nasal aperture or behind the nose. So behind nose. Oropharynx behind oral cavity, and the laryngopharynx behind larynx. Nasopharynx extend from base of skull to soft palate. Oropharynx from soft palate to upper border of epiglottis. So we'll discussing about the other function also, like the what is the lining epithelium, what is the communication and the function. So it extends from soft palate to the upper part of the epiglottis or upper border of epiglottis. At last we have the from the upper border of epiglottis till the communication with the esophagus, or till esophagus. Now let's see about the communication or where these cavities actually communicate. This is also very simple. So as you can see in the diagram that the nasopharynx communicates anteriorly with the nose, oropharynx communicate anteriorly with the, we have the oral cavity, and above we have the nose or the nasopharynx, and the laryngopharynx communicates above with the oropharynx, down with the esophagus, and anterior with the larynx. So in the case of the nasopharynx we have the one communication. In case of oropharynx we have two actually we have three communication in this. Below with the laryngopharynx also communicates. So in case of nasopharynx we have two communication, and rest of we have the three communications. So it communicates anteriorly with nose, and downward or below it communicates with the oropharynx. See, all these structures are one above the other. So the upper will communicate with the lower, lower will communicate with the upper and lower, and the lowermost communicates with the upper. So the anterior we have the nose, below we have the oropharynx. In case of oropharynx, we have anterior we have oral cavity. In case of laryngopharynx, we have anterior structure is the larynx. Above it communicates with the nasopharynx, and below it communicates with the laryngopharynx. In case of laryngopharynx, anterior we have the larynx. Below, or the first we discuss the above it communicates with the oropharynx, and below it communicates with the esophagus. So these are all the communication of the each subdivision of the pharynx. Now the next point we discuss about the lining epithelium, or what all structure line the three parts of the pharynx. So next point is the lining epithelium. So in the case of nasopharynx, you should think that we should need some cilia to trap the incoming foreign particles. So in the case of the nasopharynx, we have the ciliated columnar epithelium. In case of oropharynx and laryngopharynx, we have to engulf food that comes in this part. So the engulfed food can act pressure or apply pressure on the pharynx part, so the epithelium can get destroyed if it is single layer. So in the case of the oropharynx and the laryngopharynx, the epithelium is stratified, that is consists of multiple layers. So in the case of oropharynx or the laryngopharynx, we have the same, that is the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, So it is same in the case of laryngopharynx also, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. So this was the lining epithelium of the subdivision. The last point is the function. What does all these parts perform the function? So nasopharynx constitute the function of the carrier of the passage of air. So air passes through the nasopharynx, passage of air. So mostly the students mistakes in case of the laryngopharynx. I will tell you why. So we have the passage of air. In the case of oropharynx, we have the air also and food. So what should be in the case of laryngopharynx? So whenever the student hear laryngopharynx, they automatically tell the air, but it's not true. Laryngopharynx is situated behind the larynx, so it contains only the food part. So it is the carrier of it performs the function of the food passage. So like that we completed all the discussion about the different three parts of the subdivision of the pharynx, that is the nasopharynx, oropharynx and the laryngopharynx. In the next video we will continue further of the topic of the pharynx. So if you like the video, please hit the like button and do subscribe and share our channel. Thanks for watching.